All right. It's Friday. Wow. All right. Cool beans. All right. Are we there yet? All right. Cool. It's Friday. 1 week ago, we had an interesting time. Let me go ahead and put my little man up on the screen there. Y'all see that? That's my little man right there. He's getting jiggy with it. My little man is happy as all get out. And he has very good reason to be happy. Even the ones that haven't got to this stage yet, extremely happy. So thank you so much for joining me. It is Friday. It is June 30th. 1 week ago, the world, and I would say the world, received just fabulous, out of this world news. What an awesome time to be alive. And because of what happened last Friday, the Supreme Court, life wins. And because of that, now the left is looking to trying to figure out how they can just do away with the third branch of the government. Seriously, they wanted to just cut it loose, just cut it away. If they can't stack the court, they want to do away with the Supreme Court. And they're mad right now. They're so mad. They're so mad they're willing to break off that branch, just break it off and burn it even, just like they burned the American flag. Not because of free speech, but because they're angry, because they have so much darkness. They have so much hatred in their heart. These people don't let up about the hatred that they have for America. They don't. So I'm gonna share with you tonight, before we get into the three branches of the government here. I want to show something else to you. I want to show you something else that has happened with the crime rate going through the roof in the United States of America. See, they're saying that saving lives, like my little man right here, they believe saving lives like his is not important. It's not important, right? But they believe taking your rights away so you can't do anything, so you can't protect yourself, that's important to them. Do you see it? See, the left, they are the party of death. And you know what? They would probably get more respect if they just go ahead and own up to it. The only reason why they don't publicize it as such is because they know a lot of people would leave. But I played a video just the other day where they said 1 million people have changed their voter registration from Democrat to Republican. And a lot of people think, well, maybe they're just implants. Well, you know what? I don't think that all of them are. And the reason being because there's a lot of parents that don't want their children sexualized. A lot of parents don't like the gas prices because they can't even get to work. A lot of parents don't like that. That would take the most hardened Democrat and get them to start looking at the Republican Party. When you can't get to work because of the Democrat policies, when they start trying to sexualize your children when it comes to the Democrat Party. I have a radio show that I do every Thursday. Oh, I'm saying it's Friday and it's Thursday. Listen to Friday, it's Thursday. My days are completely off. So I do this radio show on Thursday, and this atheist called in, and we're talking, and I'm a Christian, and I don't mind. I tell him he's a Christian, he's an atheist, and we're having a conversation. But what was something that was interesting, and we both agreed that we don't agree on them sexualizing children. I mean, it's pretty amazing. We both agree that, hey, and even though atheists say, I've had many conversations with atheists in the past, and they pretty much say that they really don't have morals because, morals come from God. But I mean, we all agree that, them sexualizing children is pretty bad. But anyways, New York. Did you know there was a shooting in New York, just a brutal shooting in New York where this thug, and I'm willing to bet that this thug was black because the mainstream media don't even say anything. And I'm going to play this clip here where the mainstream media is talking about it. They're talking about this shooting, right? But they don't mention that he's a black male, so that automatically lets you know that it's a black male because it doesn't fit their narrative. But it's the crime that you need to pay attention to. The crime in New York is going through the roof, and they would love for you to believe that other places that are more lenient, that are allowing you to protect yourself, have more gun violence, which is not true. Listen to this. Except for some places. But listen.
Her 3-month-old baby in a stroller when she was killed. It happened on Manhattan's Upper East Side last night, and New York City's mayor, Eric Adams, he called this shooting a symptom of a national problem.
A symptom of a national problem? I mean, seriously? And you know what? When they talk about red states, but some of these red states have blue cities. You know, like Dallas, it's a blue city. Austin, I mean, my goodness, it's so blue, it's like puke blue. But they don't want to mention that. But listen to this.
And it doesn't matter if you are on the Upper East Side or East New York, Brooklyn. The oversaturation of guns and dangerous people that repeatedly leave our criminal justice system to continue actions like this, it is what's making the New York City Police Department and other law enforcement agencies here in New York, across the country, difficult to fight this issue.
So police say the suspect was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and black pants at the time and took off on foot after the shooting. And authorities are now saying that they believe this could be and was a domestic incident.
Seriously. Right? But they don't want to, they're saying all the gun violence is from law-abiding citizens. They don't want to ever address that the gun violence is coming from criminals. It's not law-abiding citizens who's, going along with the law. It's criminals, 100% criminals, right? They don't ever want to acknowledge that. Now, this is really interesting interaction here where you have the media asking tough questions of these socialist democrats. This is the governor of New York being asked questions about the difference between criminals with the gun and law-abiding citizens with the gun, and they don't care. And I keep telling everybody, over and over and over, that these people don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about what is right. They don't care about the actual numbers. They don't care. All they want to do is disarm everybody in the nation so then that way they can implement the same tyranny that was implemented with Stalin, Hitler, Mao Zedong, and so on and so on. Every communist nation. That's exactly what they want. Listen to this interaction.
Do you have the numbers to show that it's the concealed carry permit holders that are committing crimes? Because the lawful gun owner will say that you're attacking the wrong person. It's really people that are getting these guns illegally that are causing the violence, not the people going and getting the permit legally. And that's the basis for the whole Supreme Court argument.
Exactly. People get permits, they go through the background checks, and they get guns, right? And then but guess what? The criminal, that doesn't stop the criminal. You're just trying to make it more difficult for the American people to be able to protect themselves. Wow. Now listen to her response. Her response is so, I mean, wow. Really? She could, I think it would have been better if she would have said next question. Really? She should have just said next question. But listen.
Do you have the numbers?
I don't need to have numbers. I don't have to have a data point to say that this is going to all I know is I have a responsibility to the people of this state to have sensible gun safety laws. And this one was not devised by the Hochul administration. It comes out of an administration from 1908. I don't need a data point to make the case that I have a responsibility to protect the people of this state.
Somebody who's going to go do a mass shooting or something like that may not go get a concealed carry permit.
I never said there's...
I mean, I don't know who this young lady is, but thank you. See, this is what the press should be doing. I mean, asking sensible, reasonable questions. This is what the press should be doing. This is amazing. Let me go back to this little part right here. Listen to this.
To protect the people of this state.
Somebody who's going to go do a mass shooting or something like that may not go get a concealed carry permit.
I never said there's any correlation between our solution here and the Buffalo case. In fact, I signed a package of 10 laws following Buffalo that dealt with the issues that were raised there.
Hochul's gun laws, passed after the Tops grocery store shooting in Buffalo, raised the age at which a New Yorker can purchase a firearm to 21. But now there are questions about whether restricting public spaces under the new bills infringe on Second Amendment rights.
What if they can't practice self-defense because of the restrictions?
My point, let me give you like statistics. You like numbers? I said at the outset, 5 people per 100,000 have died from gun violence in the state of New York. The states that have more liberal laws, carry guns everywhere you want.
Let me remind you, she's talking about states, right? Because within those states, there are some liberal cities, like here in Texas, which is really crazy to me. Dallas, Houston, Austin, those are blue cities. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but they're blue cities, but she's not talking about the cities. She's trying to say the states. So she's lumping them all together. Listen.
The theory of self-protection, their average is about 28.6%. More people are dying in those states.
Governor Hochul's office sent us numbers to back up her statement. Her office says firearm deaths in New York were lower than in Mississippi, which has looser gun restrictions. Gun groups say the Supreme Court ruling won't make it easier to get a concealed carry permit or a gun. Strict background checks will remain. They say this will only allow permit holders to actually use their permit.
And again, talking about the states, but they don't talk about the cities, right? The cities. Because just like here, I keep mentioning it, just like here, they have blue cities and there's so much crime. Let me give you an example. Here in the state of Texas, which is a red state, but Austin, when they defunded the police in Austin, crime went through the roof, 1,000%. It was getting to the point to where people couldn't even walk on the streets without getting mugged. It was becoming just like San Francisco. It's like that's what they were trying to create. But for some reason, Democrats can't get it through their mind that if they cause these issues or if they do certain policies, that certain things will happen, like defunding the police. If I'm not mistaken, there was a particular town or city in California where the crime was already going through the roof and they still defunded the police. And that was here recently. And they still did it because they're thinking like, oh, this is going to fix the issues. It's really ridiculous. So did y'all hear or did y'all see today? Ketanji Brown Jackson was sworn in. And the Democrats prevented another black lady years ago that the Republicans presented to be on the Supreme Court. They prevented that from happening. Joe Brandon filibustered it. Right. But they wanted to make sure that they brought the first black woman into the Supreme Court because they want to champion it. So it brings me to another dilemma here. In one hand, the Democrats are talking about abolishing the Supreme Court, but all of them are celebrating today that Ketanji Brown Jackson is on the Supreme Court. So which is it? Do y'all want a Supreme Court or do you not want a Supreme Court? Well, they do want a Supreme Court as long as it consists of all these communist tyrants. Then anyone who goes against the U.S. Constitution, they're completely for that. Judge, what is her name? Sotomayor. I can't even pronounce her name. You know what I'm talking about. She's in an interview. She's doing like a panel and talking, well, not even a panel. She's talking to a group of people, Sotomayor. And she's telling them that the difference between her and Justice Clarence is that he believes that you should be able to pull yourself up from your own bootstraps. You pull yourself up. She believes in, let me help you, right? Because you can't do it on your own. The only problem, and she says, I want to help people. Well, by doing it for them, allowing them to not allowing them to do the work and to learn along the way, you're setting them up to fail. That's the difference. And apparently she doesn't understand that. But anyways, they're at the point right now where the left is like, well, we have a black person in office, but they don't care, right? They really don't care. That's sitting on the Supreme Court because they keep saying, well, we keep going back. This is the first black woman, the first black this and the first black that. And they're going like, after all these years, we're still doing it, talking about the first black this and the first black that. Why? Because the Democrat Party It's because of the Democrat Party, the same party that she's supporting. Listen to this, what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about here on Communist News Network. Listen to this.
Keep thinking about, like, over the course of the 233 years, what percentage of Americans who've lived and died during that period were Black women? And you compare that to the 0% that of the 115 justices that were Black women, and quite frankly, just Black justices in general. So, you know, a lot of people like to question, well, what's the significance? Because we keep saying the first Black this, the first Black woman that. But the significance is in America that Black people are still having these firsts after, you know, so many generations and so many centuries. And it shows the barriers that Black people face and continue to face.
Well, why do you think that is? It's not because of the Republicans. It's because of the Democrats. She would have been the second. Or for all we know, she would have been the second or the third. She wouldn't have been the first. Had the Democrats not prevented the one that the Republicans wanted to put there in the first place. They knew that the Republicans was going to put someone else there, a Black woman, and they didn't want them to do it. They were against it. They want to act like they're the first ones to come out with it. I'm telling you. So later on down the road, down history, the same thing they did with the anti-lynching law. The Democrats, Joe Brandon signed it, the anti-lynching law. And the only reason why they did it just like this, so 10 years, 20 years from now, they can turn around and say, look, it was the Democrats that did this. I'm telling you, it's in their playbook. Listen to this one here. This is a story about Emmett Till. Do y'all know who Emmett Till is? Emmett Till was a 14-year-old Black male that was accused of making advancements towards a white female Democrat in Mississippi, the Deep South. She years later, she came out and said it was a lie, that she's sorry, it was a lie, but he was already dead. They tortured him and put him in a tree, dangling. But now they found. Let me just play the clip for you. Listen to this.
Family of the Black teen whose murder helped inspire the civil rights movement is now demanding an arrest in that case nearly 70 years later. 14-year-old Emmett Till was abducted. He was tortured. He was lynched in Mississippi. This was in 1955 after a white woman accused him of making advances toward her. Just last week, an unserved warrant for that woman's arrest was found in the basement of a Mississippi courthouse. CNN's Ryan Young is joining us now. Ryan, what was this arrest warrant for, and why wasn't it served?
Yeah, that's one of the main questions here about why wasn't it served at this point. And so many questions from that family. But when you think about this, Anna, how hard is a family willing to fight for their loved one? 70 years later, that family, Emmett Till's family, is still fighting. And when you think about this, apparently they found it inside a dusty, dank box. And they opened this box up and they found this warrant. And now, of course, this family is calling for the arrest of this woman some 70 years later. But when you think about this, and a family member actually told our Sarah Seidner this quote, "I cried, we hugged," Deborah Watts, Emmett's cousin, told CNN. And if you think about this.
Let me stop it there real quick. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll make it full screen. But right there in the middle, it says the arrest warrant. Because I was asking this, I was questioning exactly, is this arrest warrant for that particular case even? I'm questioning everything. That's what we do. We question it, right? But right there in the middle, it says for kidnapping. I don't know how well you can see that, but sure enough, it says right there, kidnapping, and it has their name on it, right? At the top of it. And it's those three people, and she's one of them, that they wanted to arrest for those three people for kidnapping because they end up torturing him and, putting him in, hanging him from a tree. And with the thing that you're not going to hear in this video report from them is that these were all Democrats. This was the Deep South. This was the Democrats. And it's the same Democrat Party then that is the same Democrat Party today. There was never a switch. I keep telling everybody that there was never a switch. And you know very well there was never a switch. The only thing that switched were the tactics of the left. But listen to this.
Warrant has now been certified, so we know it's real. The big question is, will an arrest be made? When you think about just how transformative this moment was, when the pictures were shown of Emmett Till back in 1955, sitting in that casket after he was kidnapped, beaten, tortured, and killed. This really changed the civil rights movement for this entire country. And that was that moment where so many people galvanized and got in the streets and started making change. But since then, his family has never stopped fighting for justice. And we know there's been open investigations since then. But if you think about this, in Greenwood, Mississippi, here's a family in the bottom of the courthouse, in the basement, looking through records, and they find this. And now, of course, they're still calling for justice at this point. So we'll have to see how it plays out.
So did you hear that last little part there? Let me play it again, because listen.
Fighting for justice. And we know there's been open investigations since then. But if you think about this, in Greenwood, Mississippi, here's a family in the bottom of the courthouse, in the basement, looking through records, and they find this. And now, of course, they're still calling for justice at this point. So we'll have to see how it plays out, Anna.
See, so I question, right? I mean, it's like, I question this. It's like the family found this. The family of Emmett Till found this. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying there's this conspiracy thing or anything there. It's just really odd to me that they're saying that the family found this of Emmett Till. I mean, and I think one of the main reasons why they're telling this story, and I want to tell the story because I want to hopefully I can get ahead of it, and hopefully this video will help to get ahead of it, and it doesn't happen. This is going to get those on the left, BLM, especially BLM, to come out, and they're going to be out in the streets protesting, no justice, no peace, right? Especially if they have this warrant for her arrest and they don't arrest her, they're going to probably go ballistic. It's like they're trying to find something to get people to go out and tear the streets up, because apparently they're not getting enough violence and enough chaos from what Roe versus Wade being turned over. They're not getting enough of it, right? They want the same thing that happened during the summer of love. They want that type of violence, but they're not getting it. So I think if you ask me, they put this story out there to get them to go out there and say, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. Because Emmett Till, that's a huge story in the black community, if you will. It's a huge story. And personally, I think that story should be told in the history books, not just in February. It should be told, at different times of the year, whatever the school district. But that story should be told. But it should be told by the truth. And see, now, if you want to talk about CRT, this is a story that they would flip upside down with CRT, and they would use this as part of CRT, talking about specifically white people. They don't want to talk about the Democrats being the ones that were doing it. They don't want to talk about Democrats that were hanging black men. They don't want to talk about that. They just want to say it was white people. But there's a difference. Just like you don't have all black people that aren't thugs and want to have their pants hanging down behind their, their belt buckle down there by their knees. Black people, not everyone black does that. Black people wear ties. Black people handle themselves respectfully. Not all black people are thugs. But listen to the rest of this.
Will the warrant now be served? Do we know?
Well, and that is the major question. We know the woman is now living in North Carolina. We know at some point she's given an interview to say that everything that she said back then wasn't true. And so with so many arrests happening in other cases years later, one would believe that maybe something would happen. But of course, that is the big question that's hanging out there right now.
So they know where she lives, right? So they're gonna, if they leaked a Supreme Court justice's address, good and well they're gonna leak hers. Come on now. It was 70 years ago. I'm not saying it was right. She came out, she apologized for it. I don't even know, is she a Christian? Did she even repent? Right? I'm pretty sure it ate her. The only reason why she came out and said anything, because it's probably eating her up alive. It's probably eating her alive. Like, she's like, I can't believe that happened. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. An innocent life was taken. But see, they act like they have an issue of an innocent life being taken 70 years ago, but they don't have an issue with the life being taken 70 minutes ago via abortion. They don't have an issue with that. When it comes to that, they're completely fine with it. If they can take an innocent life, if they can take 1,000 innocent lives 70 minutes ago, they won't even think twice about it. For them, it's like, oh, that's what we want. That's what we want. To the point to where now you have the left wanting to go back. It's the left that wants to go backwards with America. We need to move forward by saving lives. Being like butchers, destroying innocent lives, that's being barbaric. That's like the Mayans trying to, worship their gods. And that's the same thing the Democrats were doing. But listen to this, because they're talking about the Democrats are suggesting that the Republicans are wanting to go backwards. And they're even talking about world leaders. Boris Johnson even saying America's going backwards. And I can care less what he says. He's a total idiot. But listen to what they say about AOC in this matter when it comes to the Supreme Court.
Becoming incredibly critical of the Supreme Court. And, every comment he makes, he said the decision on Roe versus Wade is destabilizing, he thinks, for the entire country. But that has raised a lot of questions and pressure on this White House from Democrats, some like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Elizabeth Warren from the Senate, saying that they need to change the court. It structurally needs to change because of these decisions that are coming down. You saw AOC.
And you hear, so that's with AOC wanting to change the court, right? If they can't stack the court, they want to abolish the court. They want to do away with it. And that brings me to the title of this broadcast tonight. They're so angry right now. They want to just, disregard the three branches of the government. They don't want the third one any longer. And thank God the founding fathers created the U.S. Constitution and started this country off the way that they did, because if they didn't, come on now, if they didn't, the Supreme Court would not be there right now to stop these tyrants from doing what they're doing. Look what they're doing with the gun rights. Look what they've done. They've made it to where, hey, these states, you're going against the Constitution. Now, if you make up certain rules in your state, you have to adhere to the Constitution still. It's the same thing with abortion. They found a loophole. These Democrats, all they've done is found a loophole where they could not get stuff passed in Congress. All they've done was find a loophole to go around to go to the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court is not the Supreme Court that they want. The Supreme Court is adhering to the U.S. Constitution. And yes, the Supreme Court can. They can. I encourage you to go look it up. They can override something that Congress does, and even a president. So if they put something out there that's totally tyrannical against the U.S. people, the people in the United States of America, the Supreme Court can say it's unconstitutional and flip it on the side of his head. So they can try to do whatever it is that they want, the tyranny or whatever they want. As long as we have the current Supreme Court, they cannot do it. And it's stopping them. It's stopping them. And see, that's where a lot of people go, well, Will, I told you before, they can't do it with the U.S. Constitution. Well, now we have a Supreme Court that adheres to the U.S. Constitution. But if they would have had the ones that they wanted before, we would have been done as a nation. We'd have been done as a nation. Listen.
Weighing in once again after this EPA decision came out, saying not only that, maybe they should just get rid of the court because of what the danger it poses to the entire country, she said, the world really, with this EPA decision. Now, so far, that is not something the president has backed when it comes to changes at the Supreme Court, whether that's expanding the Supreme Court, having term limits for these Supreme Court justices. Those are big questions, of course, for the White House. And you've seen the White House facing more and more pressure ever since that abortion decision came down. The broader context of the question that President Biden was asked about was also, his message always on the world stage is democracy versus autocracy. And he was questioned whether or not the United States is no longer really living up to that rallying cry that he often puts out there because of this decision. Really rolling back abortion rights only puts the United States in a corner with Nicaragua, Poland, Russia, only a handful of authoritarian nations. And so the president said no. He said that wasn't an issue that came up in any of his conversations with world leaders. But certainly some of the world leaders that were here did criticize that decision, including the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who called it a big step backwards.
Who cares what he says, right? And the only reason why they're bringing up Boris Johnson because they want to make it look like, oh, even other nations around the world understand how bad this is. Saving a life is not bad. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it to you. I mean, maybe it's just really difficult. Well, I've had some people send me a message and say, well, you don't understand. We're talking about women's rights. Well, and I asked the question, well, what right do you no longer have? And they go, well, my daughter won't have the same rights that I had. Well, thank God your daughter's here. I mean, and again, what rights does your daughter not have that you had? I mean, seriously, they lie about the rights going away. They straight up lie. No one is preventing you from going to New York or going to California or going to Illinois. No one's preventing you from going there. Then they say, well, what about those that can't afford it? Then if you can't afford it, do the responsible thing. Don't lay down. And then it was, what about rape and incest? Well, you're still talking about a small number. You're talking, but they don't want to talk about the 95%, at least 95% of those that use it for birth control. They don't want to talk about that. They want to leave that out. They actually want abortion on demand. They really do. They want abortion on demand. Listen to Joe Brandon here, as he's so upset. He's saying it's pretty much devastating, or he said it's a set. Let me just play the video. Listen what he says.
The one thing that has been destabilizing is
destabilizing. He's saying he's literally trying to say that the country is being destabilized because of the Supreme Court, not because of shutting down the XL pipeline, causing the gas prices to go through the roof. It wasn't
Russia.
It wasn't Russia. He don't want to talk about the issue that's happening on the southern border, what they've created. That's not destabilizing the nation. The food crisis that we're seeing in the country, baby formula not showing up on the shelves, that's not the issue. Saving a baby life, that is the issue for him.
the thing that has been destabilizing is the outrageous behavior of the Supreme Court of the United States.
I mean, the outrageous behavior of the Supreme Court of the United States. Do you hear this idiot? You can't make this stuff up. He's a complete bubbling idiot.
An overruling not only Roe v. Wade, but essentially challenging the right to privacy. We've been a leader in the world in terms of personal rights and privacy rights. And it is a mistake, in my view, for the Supreme Court to do it.
So it's a mistake to save lives, because that's what it does. It actually saves lives. And I've been saying, you know what? I'm looking for this magic number. Can we get this magic number of 15%? 15%. Can we get the black community to reach 15%? Well, they don't want that. They want it to be 13% or lower. You know, I guess 13%'s been their magic number. But we have the opportunity to get to 15% now. And what's really amazing to me, white Republicans are all for it, regardless of them lying, trying to say that this whole replacement theory. Listen to this. Now, have y'all seen this? This lady, I'm pretty sure you've seen the picture because the picture went viral. And on her stomach, she wrote on her stomach, not yet a human. Not yet a human. And the thought process. This is what the Bible was talking about when God sent him a great delusion. She has a daughter, and she's literally saying the human being growing in her is not human. I mean, like it's an alien, like she got abducted or something. Look at this.
Amanda, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you were very pregnant.
I am very pregnant. I am due tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness. And are you due to be induced, or are you going to wait and see?
I'm going to wait and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now tell me about what you have written on your stomach.
Sure. So this is a part of me right now. I'm Jewish, and according to Jewish law and tradition, life begins with the first breath and at birth, and that if anything were to happen up until then, that it is part of me, and it is my decision. It's part of my body. It's like a limb. I mean, it is a significant part of me, but it's my decision.
Okay, so I see you have written here. Can you read it to me?
Yeah, it says not yet a human.
And why did you write that?
Because everyone is talking about murder, and it's me. It's not somebody else yet. I have a child. This is a person. This is a person with will. This is a person who has decision-making power, and this is me.
What do you think of today's decision?
It's awful. I mean, it's horrible. I don't know, what parts this baby is going to have, but if he or she does not have the options that they need to make bodily choices around what they can do with their own life, I don't know how to protect them in the world.
So at least she said he or she, and not they, them, she, her. At least she said he or she. At least she said that, but she's still an idiot. There's a living baby in her. I mean, seriously, it's a baby. It's a human baby. It's human tissue. It's not an alien. And it just goes to show how ignorant these people truly are. They can't grasp the concept. Now, I have another video that I want to share with you here, and I almost didn't have it here. Where's it at? Where it's talking about the abortion and the way they actually think about abortion. Okay, where's it at? Nope, not there. And I saw this earlier and I said, you know what? I have to share this with you. I have to share this with you. All right, here we go. Okay. Here it is. Now, this is really interesting. I can't imagine too many people have seen this video, but listen to how they're talking about how this woman here, and this woman has a demonic spirit in her. Just warning you, she has a demonic spirit in her. Listen to what she says about the life of a child in the womb. Listen. It's pretty disturbing. It really is.
Abortion by any means necessary.
Abortion by any means necessary. Is that not disturbing?
Abortion by any means necessary.
And they're cheering her on.
Abortion because she's sick. It's not abortion because she having complications. It's not abortion because it's abortion because it's her fucking choice.
Oops. Sorry about the language. I apologize.
So she tell us I need an abortion, Ms. Rock. I got you, sis. Say it with me. I need an abortion.
I got you, sis.
I need an abortion.
I got you, sis.
I need an abortion.
I got you, sis.
And you know what? They find, for the most part, they always find a black female to really represent abortion more than anybody else in the country. And they do this because they want more black women. They want black women to continue to kill their own child. You can't make this stuff up. It's really bizarre and out of this world that is happening this way. It really is. And it's to the point to where, just like with the Supreme Court overruling it, and the Biden administration and the rest of the Democrats, they don't care. They want to do away with the Supreme Court and the filibuster. They're literally saying, well, you know what? If the Supreme Court is going to do this, we're going to do whatever we can to do away with the filibuster and just override it. Listen.
On the domestic question, sir, what further specific executive actions are you considering in response to the Roe ruling? And would you declare a public health emergency, as several Democrats are calling on you to do?
I'll be happy to go in detail with you on that. I'm having a meeting with a group of governors when I get home on Friday, and I'll have announcements to make then. But the first and foremost thing we should do is make it clear how outrageous this decision was and how much it impacts not just on a woman's right to choose, which is a critical piece.
Okay, and I ask this question all the time. What are those choices? And a woman's right, because no one is taking the rights away from women, but when they're talking about abortion, what's the choice? It's either life or death. And I'm saying this for the people that have never heard that. Some people never even thought about it. What you can't take away the woman's right to choose? Well, what are those choices? And then sometimes when I'm out and I'm talking to people and I say, well, what are those choices? You know, someone get this blank stare over their face. Like, what do you mean? What are those choices? And then one lady go, well, abortion. Well, what's the definition of abortion? It's death when you get through with it.
On privacy generally. And so I'm going to be talking to the governors as to what actions they think I should be taking as well. And but the most important thing to be clear about is we have to change. I believe we have to codify Roe v. Wade in the law. And the way to do that is to make sure the Congress votes to do that. And if the filibuster gets in the way, it's like voting rights. It should be, we provide an exception for this require an exception to the filibuster for this action.
Y'all hear this? He's like, then we just need to do away with the filibuster just so we can get what we want. Just so we can get what we want. Do away with the filibuster. Is anyone else seeing a tyrant? I mean, really? Really? And again, I'm talking about this stuff, and it's like, I'm not the one making it up. I'm listening to what they're saying. They're the ones saying. I had this one lady send, she put in a comment, and my awesome, one of my awesome moderators took a screenshot of it. And I've always liked it when my moderators take screenshots of these people being really nasty, and then they send them to my producer. And my producer, she'll show them to me, and I'm like, this is crazy. Well, one insane lady sent me a message telling me that everything that I'm saying is not true, but they're the ones saying it. Let me give you another example. You know how when President Trump was saying
Russia, Russia, Russia.
He said 3 times, like, Russia, 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 like, and they got it from, Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. Some of y'all may not know what that is if you're too young, but you know what I'm saying? So the Brady Bunch. So
Russia, Russia,
3
Russia.
times. So now Biden is saying Russia, Russia, Russia. But he's blaming Russia for everything, blaming Putin for everything. Did y'all know? Hold on before we go to it. Did y'all know that Putin controlled America? Because apparently that's what he's saying. Putin controls our food. Putin controls our gas. Seriously, according to the Biden administration and the rest of the idiots on the left, Putin controls everything. So why are y'all pissing him off then? Excuse my language. Why y'all ticking him off? Why y'all ticking off Putin if he's controlling everything, which I don't believe it, because we didn't have these issues when President Trump was in office. This only happened because of this nut job. All of this is happening because of him, but they push blame. Listen.
Ultimately, the reason why gas prices are up is because of Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. The reason why the food crisis exists.
You heard it? The gas is up because of Russia, Russia, Russia.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
Did someone send him my video?
Russia, Russia, Russia.
I'm just saying, because the way they've been hitting me here lately, I mean, it's kind of crazy. But listen.
Russia, Russia, Russia. The reason why the food crisis exists is because of Russia. Russia not allowing grain to get out of Ukraine.
You hear this? So what was the problem before Russia? Anyone ask that question? They're like I'm always saying, they're counting on everyone to have amnesia. They're counting on you not to remember. They're counting on you to be like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Okay, so I want to talk about something else here. Let me see which one we want to get to first here. Okay, let's go to this one first. And I really, really kind of, on the edge about talking anything about, something that happened on a certain date, in the year 2021. Only because they like, oh my goodness, unless you believe the lie, you can't talk about it. You can't talk about it. But listen to this. This is Liz Cheney here. For those of you that don't know, this is Liz Cheney. She's a total rhino. She's actually, she might as well just run on the Democrat ticket. I don't know why she would run on anything else, because any Republican that's supporting her now right now is a complete idiot themselves, and they're not paying attention. Yes, I said that. Any Republican that is supporting her, they are an idiot. Hands down. And I'm not taking it back. Listen to this.
Her superiors, men many years older, a number of them are hiding behind executive privilege, anonymity, and intimidation. But her bravery and her patriotism yesterday were awesome to behold.
So her lying is considered now awesome. She's referring to the story that she told about President Trump reaching from the back seat of the limousine to the front of the limousine and grabbing the steering wheel. I mean, that's what she's talking about. That's what she was saying. I mean, it's like the most bizarre thing ever. And I was telling my producer about it when I first heard about the story, and my producer thought I was, talking about a joke. Like, what? Like this can't be real. But yeah, sure enough, they're actually saying that President Trump, crawled from the back and up to the front and took the steering wheel. I mean, it's like the dumbest thing ever. And people believe it. That's the most disturbing thing. People believe it.
And let me also say this to the little girls and to the young women who are watching tonight. These days, for the most part, men are running the world, and it is really not going that well.
So this is them to remove. Okay, when President Trump was in office, he's a man and he's an alpha male. How was America looking then? How was it looking then? Did she say that then? I mean, seriously. And President Trump, he employed a lot of women along with him under his administration. He's done that for years. It's not that the issue is not man running things. The issue are demonic demons running things. And I have no issue with a female. Like there's strong women right now that could fill the position. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of them. And some Republicans go, oh, I don't know about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know. But let me play something else for you here. This one I think is extremely important. And I have my reservations, right? Because they attacked me before because I talked about the truth. Now, this is the Communist News Network actually telling the truth for a change. The Communist, yes, you just heard me say this. The Communist News Network telling the truth for a change, and watch them, because they're going to have reservations about saying he's going to be pausing. And this is the same dude that got caught in a Zoom meeting, fondling himself. It's the same dude. So now they have him on here, and he's actually on here telling the truth. Just listen what he's saying, because just listen.
Out today, you raised this, Jeffrey, and I think it is people need to pay much more attention to even the going forward. The justices also just agreed to hear a case in the next term that could be hugely consequential with regard to voting rights, a case out of North Carolina. What is this about?
Well, this is something called the Independent State Legislature Doctrine. And the issue, and this came up all the time in the controversies over the resolution of the 2020 election. And the question is, when a state decides its rules for an election, how they allow people to register, how they count the votes. The customary situation has been, and the way the 2020 election was resolved was that the legislatures in the various states passed laws, and then the courts in that state.
You hear this? The legislators in the states, they pass the laws, and they handle it. And listen, this is what they've done. And see, a lot of people got upset with the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court didn't do the same thing that the local judges were doing. Listen carefully.
In the various states passed laws, and then the courts in that state interpreted those laws and said what was permissible and what was not. What this case asserts is that only the legislature can decide how elections are conducted, and the courts are not allowed to intervene at all.
And see, that's the reason why the Supreme Court didn't intervene. That's the same reason. So the Supreme Court is coming back and saying that these other courts shouldn't do it either at the local level, because now they're starting to get involved. And a lot of people got upset with the Supreme Court saying, well, we saw XYZ happening and they did nothing. But here they're saying that the problem is not the Supreme Court. The problem are the lower courts in the states. They interjected where they shouldn't have. They're saying it here. I hope YouTube don't ding me, because they're the ones saying it. I'm just relaying it.
And what that means is that these legislatures, especially in states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Arizona, which are very conservative and very much gerrymandered by the legislatures, can do whatever they want, and they can't be reviewed. Their decisions can't be reviewed by the state courts. It's a license to these very conservative state legislatures to decide and resolve elections any way they want, including the drawing of district lines.
The landscape is already gerrymandered and unfair. This feels like heading towards the Wild West, but let's wait till see what the court,
that's for next term.
That is for next term. But
they had I'm telling you, again, see, I'm gonna have to do a video on Rumble and just let it all out with this, just Rumble only, because Rumble may be Getter just only, and because I can't go into exactly all the details about what this is, because they will just go ballistic and they will say I'm putting out information that's not right. But the Communist News Network is saying it. They're saying it. Right, I'll just elaborate it, and they hit me once before because I shared something with the Communist News Network was talking about, and they dinged me on it, completely dinged me on it. And like I mentioned a second ago, how I should have played this a minute ago, how the left, how they're believing the steering wheel, but there's some on the left that's questioning it though. There's people on the left that's questioning it because you know what, this story just doesn't add up. It really doesn't. It just doesn't add up. Here, let me play something else for you first. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for playing this. I thought it was pretty funny. And I really debated about playing it. Here, check it out. Check it out. That was a released video from the committee. The committee released that video showing Trump taking the steering wheel. I hope I don't get in trouble. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know who made that, but touche. Good job. Good job. But to go back to it, here's one where the left is actually even questioning it. Listen to this.
Hutchinson, that I think we're forgetting here, is that she just got a new lawyer a couple weeks ago, and frankly, her new lawyer, number one, wasn't in Trump world. She was sort of represented by somebody who was a Trump insider, and number two, her new lawyer was the former chief of staff to the Justice Department. So of course, it's more likely that she's now going to start appearing publicly. So I don't think any of us know for certain what is or was going on within the Justice Department, other than the fact that we just saw this individual's testimony. And so it kind of cuts both ways, and it's just hard to know what really happened here.
What really happened here? I mean, they're even questioning it. They're even questioning, did Trump take the steering wheel? Did Trump really take the steering wheel? I mean, you actually have people questioning it, and rightfully so. People should be questioning it. There's one more thing I think I want to share with you here. People should be questioning it, and that's what the media is supposed to do. But, you know, it's really hard to get the liberal media to actually ask tough questions and say, hey, wait a minute, something's not right here. We need to step back and, and ask what is going on. And let's see if I can get to it here. There's just something else I want to share with you, or someone made this is just a picture. If I can find it. Let's see, where is it at? Let's see if I can find it. I promise you, I put stuff here and it's like this, and it's gone. Just disappears. And it's gone. Maybe I put it here. Nope. Nope. Now people are like, oh, well, now we want to see it. And, oh, I found it. Okay. Here we go. Boom. All right, let me put it up on the screen here. Now, the person who created this picture, they actually did tag it with their information on it, which is perfectly fine with me. And you know, if they tag it with, if they create it, I don't have any issues of sharing it with anybody. But here, let me just put it up on the full screen here. I'm like, that's good. Come on, that's good stuff. I mean, if you believe this picture, then you believe everything that they've been saying. Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Was that worth waiting for? All right. Hey, we're at the end here. Let me say thank you to a couple of people before I bounce out of here. I want to say thank you so much for sharing the video. I noticed on Fascist Book, they've been hitting me hard here lately, last couple of days. It's just ridiculous what they're doing. I'm not sure why. I mean, probably just don't like me talking about what I'm talking about. And again, me personally, I don't curse. I don't, show nudity. I mean, I show the violence. The violence I do show is with them, I mean, because they're the one doing all the violence. But, it's like, Will Johnson, you're not supposed to be thinking that way. How dare you? You're black and you're thinking that way. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I'm like, hey. But hey, let me say thank you to Troy. Thank you so much, Troy, for the cash app. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. And then, what did it say? Madsen. What did it say? Patricia. Let's go with Patricia. Thank you so much for the blessings. And then Patriots Force USA. Thank you so much. Super chat. Wow. Lou, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Kevin, super chat. What's going on YouTube? YouTube in the house. Thank you so much. Kelly, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And then Sherry, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much. Then Kathy, thank you for the blessing. Thank you so much. Cosette, is that right? Cosette, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much. Wow, these are some interesting ones. Lubiana, is that right? Lubiana? Am I saying it right? If I'm saying it right, it's a pretty name. Thank you so much. Charles, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Juanita, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Juanita. I really do appreciate it. Cheryl, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then Mary, thank you so much, Mary. Mary Lou, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Hey, if you would, please do me a favor, share the video. That would help me out a lot. I really do appreciate it. God bless. Good night, everybody. See you on the flip side.